Warning: the Chaotic Culture podcast is a program for mature audiences. The language and content presented in this podcast is of a mature nature that some audiences may not find suitable. Viewer and listener discretion is advised.
Embrace the culture, blaze the doja, grab your loved ones and bring them closer. Extra, extra, read the poster, the KKP is taking over. Sleeping on me, better smell the Folgers. I've been razor sharp since the Motorola. Off for O, like the cover Oprah. Popping bottles, feet all in the sofa. It's a celebration, though the times is hard. It's raining blessings, give it up to God. Chaotic culture, the greatest pod. With Ked the Pro, the one in charge. But it's a celebration, times is hard. It's raining blessings, give it up to God. Chaotic culture, the greatest pod. With Ked the Pro, the one in charge.
We're living in a chaotic culture. 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 Oh, we're living in a chaotic culture. 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 Oh, we're living in a chaotic culture. 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 Oh, we're living in a chaotic culture. We're living in a chaotic culture. We're living in a chaotic culture. We're living in a chaotic culture.
All right. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of the Chaotic Culture Podcast, the pod where chaos rules and black culture is elevated. As always, continue to embrace the culture. This podcast will deep dive into modern black culture and how millennials and Gen Z can navigate the crazy parts, from finances, music, business, black business highlights, home ownership, HBCUs, sports, black nerddom, anime. We cover all that and everything in between. Live from the 7-5, I am the host and creator of the Chaotic Culture Podcast, your boy Ked the Pro, a.k.a. the Calculated Millennial, a.k.a. the Cutlass Diamond, a.k.a. don't be pushing on my buttons in my Cutlass unless you cutting, a.k.a. Panda's favorite Toxic Adjacent King, a.k.a. your favorite Shadowrun Consultant. The 843 is me, but VA is where I stay. Always chaotic, never toxic. Except for maybe this week. I don't know. I'm feeling a little today. It's just it's been one of those weeks, y'all. You know, things happen and it not necessarily things happen. You just know that the energy just seems off. It's one of those weeks where I just like nothing really bad happened, but it's kind of like you know, and I'm usually in the holiday spirit because I love Christmas. It's my favorite holiday, but I just haven't been in the holiday spirit. I don't know. Maybe it's just everything that's been going on this year, that might be it, but still, we gonna get lit, man. I'm over here. Of course, we got the bottle out. We got the bottle of Casamigos out. I'm going to be careful, you know, because folk got to get up and still go to work tomorrow.
That's a fact.
Indeed. With me right now, of course, is my co-host here, my boy Law. Go ahead and introduce yourself as always, sir.
What's going on? It's Law, aka Lawrence. We're back again on Positive Vibes. I just want to say, first and foremost, you know, try to be the light in every situation that you encounter. It's going to be harder than most days and harder than not. But, you know, just continue to really be the person that has that spark, because you never know how it could change not only your life, but those around you.
Indeed, man. Indeed. With that, NASA is not here with us today. She's out enjoying herself. I don't know what she's doing, but she seemed like she was having fun today, so we're just gonna go ahead and let her have her fun.
That's a fact.
Yeah, make sure that she got her you know, get herself out there and just have have a good time and whatnot. So we definitely miss you. Hopefully we'll be able to have you on the next episode. I know that a lot of people are going out of town this upcoming weekend, so we're gonna have to make some arrangements and see what we can do. But yeah, so for those who have listened for the past few episodes, obviously we appreciate you. You know, thank you for your continuous listens here. Thank you for continuing to support us. We definitely appreciate you guys for tuning into us each and every week. We do drop every Wednesday at around 8 a.m. Sometimes we may drop it a little earlier, just depending on if I'm able to edit it. So definitely continue to check us out every Wednesday morning. You know, we're live on this on this podcast on all streaming platforms, whether it's Apple, Google, Spotify, Breaker, Radio Public, wherever you get your podcasts. I'm working on trying to get this through SoundCloud as well, so we're gonna do that. iHeart is still being iHeart, so I don't even know if I'm gonna be able to distribute through them, but we're working on it. We are working on it.
Baby steps.
Yep.
But another thing, on some real, like, we hear from maybe 5 to 6 people in a week. Let's start hearing from you all more. I like to actually, get some more feedback, get some more respondents, so that we can kind of tailor things to be more interactive with you all as our listeners. Without you all, we wouldn't be anything.
Yeah, exactly.
Give us some feedback. I want to know how y'all feel. Let me know if my take on the music roundtable is trash. At the end of the day, I'm still going to debate you and keep my stance. But get back to me and let me know something.
Hey, that's real. Speaking of which, we have a music roundtable episode that is coming up very soon. We will be discussing the Lil Wayne discography, so definitely tune into that. I do have a list of rules now because we're going to probably have more people that will participate, so we'll try to let them know how they will go, but I'll actually explain those rules to the podcast members off mic, and then for everybody else once we actually get a chance to do the episode. So far, I'm on Lil Wayne's last album, Funeral, and I'll give my grade on that. I'll give my grade on that. That one, I don't know.
I'm really at, I want to say it's a C+. I'm taking it for where Weezy is in his matriculation as an artist. And then on top of that, the features that he has up there, I'm going a strong C+.
We'll see. I don't want to spoil my grade, but it is. I'm going to say Funeral is not bad. It is probably going to be one of those mid albums, which, as you say, would probably fit right around C+. But I'll give my final take on it once I actually finish it. So far I haven't gotten the chance to finish it. I'm probably a little bit, maybe a little more halfway. Am I halfway through? I don't know. I gotta look again. But yeah.
It's if you're not listening to the deluxe, it is 24. So that means you would be down somewhere around Know You Know and Wild Dogs, something like that.
I've already listened to Wild Dogs, so I'm pretty sure that
you're a little bit over half.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Cool. Well, yeah. I definitely didn't listen to the deluxe. I'll probably do that after I finished. Because I listened to the deluxe version of the Carter 5, and boy, that was a.
Well, you're in the store for 32 songs.
Yeah.
But I will say, if you're going to do a listen through for any artist who has deluxe, do it when you're doing something like working out or cleaning. It helps to take away from some of the focus that you're listening to 32 songs.
Yes.
But it makes it a little bit easier to palate. So, definitely deluxe albums are for gym trips and cleaning, traveling, things that are going to take at least an hour or more of your time.
Don't just listen just to listen. Do something that's going to be productive and will help you waste time, because just trying to listen through it just for the sake of listening can be quite arduous,
to say the least.
Yes, very. So with that, definitely tune into the Music Roundtable episode. That might be the next episode that we do, considering that we want to try and get that out before Christmas. Mm-hmm. So whether we can do it together or by Zoom, we'll figure out all the details later. If you don't hear an episode next week, that probably means that the very next week will be that Music Roundtable episode. So it'll be just right before Christmas. So for those who are getting ready to celebrate the Christmas holiday, of course, do what you got to do. Get your shopping done. I hope everybody was able to do their shopping, whether it was online or in the stores. And I hope y'all didn't lose y'all minds trying to find y'all gifts on Black Friday and Cyber Monday. But either way, I hope you got everything that you wanted to give to your family and friends. And I hope that you are able to spend family time with each other when the holiday does come around. As I said, Christmas is my favorite holiday, and my mom and brother are actually going to come up to Virginia to spend it with me. So I got to find a Christmas tree. So, because the last time they came up here, I did not have a Christmas tree, and I felt kind of bad. I'm like, dang, I usually like to decorate because we used to always love decorating Mama's house. So, and I still do. So I'm definitely going to at least get a Christmas tree and maybe a couple more Christmas decorations on there to make it at least look somewhat festive in here.
Definitely.
Yeah.
As far as my crib, I'm probably just gonna go to my mom's house, do the tree there. I'm not really pressed to put one up in the crib, but yeah, definitely we would do like cookies and play music and decorate the tree and just spend time with the fam. So I think that's what I'm looking forward to most.
Yes, sir. I've started listening to my Christmas music now. I'm not one of those people who will play Christmas music in November or as soon as November starts. I'm not one of those people. I will wait until after Thanksgiving. So I guess I got to play more to actually get into the Christmas spirit. So hopefully I'll get the chance to do that this week.
What's the Temptation song that everybody says the first line to?
Oh, I mean the Silent Night?
Yeah.
Where they go, in my mind.
Yeah. I crack up every time. In my mind. Oh man. Yeah, that's a good. That's when you truly know Christmas is here. When you hear that.
Yeah, indeed. So yeah, with that, again, I hope everybody gets a chance to. Oh my goodness, I'm sorry, I'm watching football, and oh wait, there's a flag, so it might be okay. It might be okay. I'm hoping it's on Baltimore. I'm watching the Ravens and the Steelers, and the Steelers have been subpar this year, but
and I think the Reds, the Washington football team have just squeaked by the Raiders. So
oh boy,
they got some payback for the conference.
Okay, cool. It's pass interference on Baltimore. So, and they got 2 minutes and 45 seconds left. So, I need Pittsburgh just to continuously milk this clock, and hopefully we eke out the win. It should be a tie game right now, but Boswell missed the kick. He missed an extra point. So,
that wasn't really pass interference. They both were jostling for the
ball. Yeah. Well, either way, I'm glad the call went in Pittsburgh's favor. So with that, while we're on the subject of sports, real quick, of course, shout out to my Chicago Bulls. If I had a gunshot, I would definitely be playing that, because boy, them Bulls look good. And again, I know it's still very, very early in the season, but I'm just excited for what this team has in store for weeks to come. So by the end of the All-Star break, if they're still continuously winning, then I think we're in good shape for the playoffs.
Well, you talking about the Bulls? My Heat have been doing their damn thing.
Oh yeah, he been balling too.
Jimmy Buckets and Bam, I need them to, keep it pushing.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I can't wait to see what the East has in store this year. I think they're going to be a little more competitive.
It's definitely going to be a shootout, to say the least. I'm also looking forward to see what happens in the West. It's just going to be interesting, to say the least.
Yeah, the Warriors, man, they don't have everybody. They still have injuries. Clay is not back yet, but they're still playing lights out. It's incredible just to see how together that team is now. Even with the injury. So when Clay comes back, if he can fit into that system, Warriors going to be a problem. Oh, yeah. Again.
They're looking like 13-14. You remember? And they went on that championship run. Mm-hmm. That's how they're looking right now. And I think with Clay coming back within the next month and a half, I think he's just going to mesh right in. Right now, Eastern Conference has Brooklyn on top. Then it's Chicago second, Milwaukee third, Washington fourth, Miami fifth, and Boston sixth. So
and that's crazy that Washington is as high as they are, man. They coming out the gate strong too. The East is gonna be good. And then I know. Wait, where's Charlotte at? Where are the Hornets? Are they 7th or 8th?
Charlotte is actually not in the running.
Oh, really?
They are. They're in 8th.
Okay, all right, cool. Because I know
they're right behind Cleveland.
Okay.
So, I don't want to say that they're not in the running, but if we're talking who's going to the playoffs, that's really kind of why I made that comment.
Yeah,
But,
we'll see. Again, we still got a few games before we can, before we know officially who's in the playoffs. We got a long season. Basketball is what it is.
Yeah. But right now, Golden State, they're leading. Well, they're really tied right now with Phoenix at 19-4.
Oh yeah, because Phoenix went on a 18-game win streak themselves. Like,
did they win the other night?
I don't know. Let me check ESPN.
I got you. No, they lost to the Warriors.
Oh, okay.
On Friday.
Damn, what was that final score?
118-96.
Sheesh.
Either way, they still balling.
Yeah, they definitely still are.
For the West, you got Golden State, Phoenix, Utah, Memphis, the Clippers, and then the Lakers. And everybody's been really getting on the Lakers. Talking about LeBron about to get everybody traded.
Well, I mean, if it don't work by midseason, I honestly can say that it probably might happen. So I don't hold anything against the team that LeBron is on, because they'll probably will make a trade happen somewhere down the line if something ain't working. I don't know who they would trade. I don't know who would. I honestly
really don't see any agents moving right now.
Nah, not right now. But we'll see. Anything can happen before the trade deadline and before All-Star break. So that's the beauty of sports, man. You really don't know what these front offices are thinking about, and what these coaches are thinking about, and which player can help benefit their team the most. So
it's just like, how do you look at the long-term picture, especially like when you're at this point like 20 games in, 25 games in, and like, okay, well, let me think down the line. What do we need on the defensive front? How can we boost our offensive front?
Yep.
So it's interesting to see, like, you could go to sleep a Miami Heat or a Heat and then turn around and get the call and you're going to Indianapolis. Like,
nah, that's real.
It's wild, but that's the life.
Yeah, man. So with that, transitioning from NBA into college basketball. Now, of course, the season really just got started, but I really want to highlight this crazy game that I literally just went to last night, or on Saturday for those who listen to. I went to Hampton, Norfolk State. Now, they had played the week prior in Phoenix for the HBCU Game Day Challenge, and we didn't get, cooked, but what happened is Hampton had the lead in the first half, and then Norfolk State came all the way back and ended up winning by 9. Now, Norfolk State had only lost one game prior to that. So now they're like, I don't know, but I know coming into this game, they were 9-1, and Hampton was an abysmal 2-6. I don't know what's going on. I guess it's an entirely new squad. I guess because Hampton has not been playing for a year and a half because of COVID and whatnot. You got whole new players and a whole new team to work with. Mm-hmm. But still, I went to the game, and Hampton was up by as much as 12 throughout the first half. And then Norfolk State came all the way back. But I saw how they did it. One, they got Hampton in foul trouble. And because of that, they just kept attacking the paint. Like, they weren't really hitting outside shots or any threes or anything like that. They just kept attacking the paint. And the more that they got them in foul trouble, the more that score dwindled down from 12 to 7 to 6, back to 8, back to 7 to 6 to 5. And then eventually they took the lead with a few minutes left in the second half. And then as the game started to wind down, of course, Hampton has one of the very last possessions. They're trying to dwindle the clock so that way if they make a shot, Norfolk State doesn't have that much time to try and take the lead, so that way they might be able to go in overtime. Well, they missed the shot, and Norfolk State's up by 1 at this point. Norfolk State gets the rebound. They foul almost immediately. You got 6.9 seconds left in the game. Norfolk State only ends up hitting 1 or 2. They make the first one, and they miss the second one, so it's 55-57. They get the rebound. Hampton goes. Of course, they get to the other side of the court, but time is literally winding down. It's less than 2 seconds left. They pass it to my boy Deuce Dean, and he takes a miracle shot. Like, he's just throwing up a prayer at this point, and it goes in as the buzzer goes off. When I tell you, Convocation Center exploded. Oh my gosh, man. And it's a rivalry game, obviously. Hampton and Norfolk State have been rivals. Battle of the Bay. They've been rivals for years. But I have, live and in person, you rarely see moments happen like that. You might see them on TV. You know, but the fact that I was just there live to see that was incredible, man. I was like, yo, this shit was crazy. So definitely shout out to the Hampton men's basketball team, man. Shout out to the boys. Norfolk State did come and play a good game. They didn't bring the Spartan Legion, so the band wasn't there. I guess COVID protocols, man. The band had just gotten, I guess, back from Thanksgiving break, and they couldn't get any of their tests back to Hampton in time, because, you know, Hampton got strict rules when it comes to this COVID-ish. Yeah. So, yeah, that's what it is, man. But
I'm definitely going to have to plan to see one of these games in January. It's been a minute since I've been to Convo, so
yeah, man,
come check the band out, you know, give my support, you know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Oh, by the way, how was it in New York?
New York was cool, man. We definitely had fun at the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, bro. I really enjoyed myself.
Was it cold?
Not on the day of the parade. It wasn't that cold. It was cold, but it wasn't like, oh my God, I can't function. Yeah, can't function cold. Now, the Tuesday before, oh, bro, it was bad. Like, it was cold. Because we all went out into the city just because they let the students do their thing, and of course the adults did their thing. I kind of went on my own little mission. When I got to, because we stayed in Jersey City at the Hyatt, like literally right across the Hudson from Manhattan. Yeah. And so I took the path down to World Trade Center and then took the subway down to Times Square. When I tell you, boy, it was cold. I'm sitting here like, I'm glad I got a hoodie and a jacket on and gloves on. I'm just sitting here like, keep it moving. Because knowing that I'm by myself, it's like I'm focused, but at the same time, I'm like, I know I'm up north. I ain't trying to get swindled. Yeah, I'm just like, right. And, you know, even though it's Times Square, I know, again, shit happens. So, and one of the things that I always do to protect myself or to at least take my belongings, like my phone and my wallet, I have in my hand in that little hoodie pocket. So I'm literally carrying it without actually, like, putting it in my pockets, because the clothes that I had on didn't have, like, zippers on the pockets. So it's like, yeah. So I'm always having my hand on it. But, I mean, things went smooth. Had a nice time. Got a chance to meet up with one of my friends who used to be on the flag line. Her name is goodness gracious, Aaliyah. I don't know why I just dropped it, but we know too many Aaliyahs. That's what it is. Yeah. But shout out to Aaliyah Barnes. I don't know if she'll ever check this podcast out, but definitely shout out to her. Definitely had an excellent time. Glad I got a chance to catch up with her because it has been a minute. But yeah, man, New York was really fun. That parade moved fast.
I believe it.
And usually with parades, like, I'm used to it moving, but then like stopping at certain points so that way you might be able to catch your breath a little bit and then, you know, moving. No, NBC had you going like this. I'm just sitting here like, yo, and this is 2.5 miles. Oof. Watch it be on the defense.
But yeah, I realized that because I woke up probably like 9:30, 9:45 looking for you guys, because I know y'all had said it was going to be on at 10:08. Mm-hmm. But when I like went back and I replayed, so like you can look at, it's a YouTube that actually had all the floats and all the participants as it was going. And so I looked at it to see where you all were within the parade. It's actually on the offense. It's tough. And then so like when I saw the y'all had a balloon behind you all, or it was in front of y'all with the R on the chest.
I think it was behind us. Yeah,
so I saw y'all and I saw the balloon, and then when I actually tuned in live, they were actually on the balloon, and this was at like 10:15. So like they showed y'all probably at 9:08 if we being real.
But yeah, wow, okay. But yeah, man, I definitely had fun. Were you able to like peep the actual clip though of the on YouTube?
It wasn't y'all performing. It was just like a progression through.
Oh, okay. I can send you the clip of them actually doing the star performance. So
Yeah, do that because like I really did want to like catch y'all and record it so that I can have that as like Hampton.
yeah, yes sir. So yeah, I'll definitely do that for you, man. All right. So we got a couple of topics to get through. They're not very big topics, so we ain't gonna hold y'all too long today. But we definitely got to discuss these things that's happening in our culture today. First of all, we gotta address. Let's address the serious part first.
Yeah,
first off, let's talk about this Ethan Crumbly situation. Now, for those of you who haven't heard in the news, of course, there was a shooting in at Oxford High School in Oxford, Michigan, which is a few miles outside of Detroit. Now, the way that the newspapers handled it, of course, they had those headlines saying that it was one of those Detroit suburbs, but Oxford is really like out the way in Detroit, so I wouldn't even consider it a part of Detroit. But y'all know how these headlines like to portray Detroit as this crumbling city and so on and so forth. So, yeah, there's that. With that being said, the Ethan Crumbly, who was a 15-year-old, bought a handgun to school, and of course, there was another school shootout. There was another school shooting, not a shootout, because that would imply that people were busting back. Yeah, so he was pretty much bought a gun to school and popped 4 people and injured 7. And it's just crazy. I guess he might have been a trouble child or bully child. I really don't know the details, but the crazy thing about this is that this already goes into the argument about gun control. We already know, the fact that we try to beat a dead horse about responsibly owning guns, and how the opposition will tell us that that we're trying to take away guns and so on and so forth. Clearly, that's not the case in this situation. This was definitely a form of negligence, and it really begs for people to please, if you have a weapon, please make sure that you are doing your best to lock it in a safe and be responsible when owning your guns, because when you have situations like this, that really just shows negligence on your part, especially as parents. Now, the whole James and Jennifer Crumbly, Ethan's parents, that's an entirely different story, because let's start at the beginning. One, this dude, they buy the gun for him for his birthday. He's 15. He's not supposed to have a gun at that age. It's illegal.
Now, unless they are teaching him how to properly use the firearm, and then until he becomes of age to give it to him, he had no reason to have that gun.
Yeah.
Or have access to said gun.
Exactly. With that means you have also a situation where they did take him to the range, and I guess they were practicing with it, which in normal circumstances I get, but I guess for me, I don't know how I would feel putting but then again, no, I can't even say that because I'm a Boy Scout and I was handling rifles at 15 years old. So,
but that again goes to the fact that you had proper training.
Yeah.
So unless it was for training purposes, there should have been truly no reason for him to have access outside of at the range,
right,
where he is supervised.
Exactly.
Oh, it's a game now.
No, yeah, we're going in overtime. Unless Justin Tucker, Mr. Automatic, misses. Which, if I can, to my account, he's missed only 1. Oh, they going for 2.
Harbaugh said F to B.
Oh, man.
F to B, yes. Yeah. Let's get it.
Okay, so I guess we about to see. If they make 2, then sheesh. Might be game. It's like 12 seconds left in the game. So, but if they miss, then they'll probably try an onside kick. But either way, yeah, man, as you said, like, we had training actually using the weapons and whatnot. So unless they were teaching him how to properly use it, then yeah, naturally. But what the alarming part is that this kid went to school, and was looking up ammunition. And the teacher found out and reported it. And, of course, the parents did nothing but just say, when they text him back, LOL, next time, don't get caught. I guess this is the mom that did that. That's sign number 2 that this might turn into a bad situation. The most alarming sign was the fact that he had a drawing of him shooting people and had some very cryptic messages on that said drawing. And now you got the teachers like, yo, what the fuck? And so literally they take him to counseling and they recommend, yo, get him out of here, because that drawing right there, that is a red flag. That is a huge red flag. And of course the parents were there, but the parents decided, oh, you know what? We are not going to pull him out of school. You know, we feel as though we shouldn't have to pull him out of school. And, you know, we're not going to, I guess, follow the recommendation of the school faculty. So because of that, he ends up going back to class. That very same day, he pulls out the gun and kills 4 people. So right there, that's really the major red flag there. During the shooting, of course, his mom texts him. I guess she found out that he had it and was like, Ethan, don't do it. His dad, of course, reported that the gun was missing, which meant that the gun was not secured in a safe space. And yeah, that really just shows how negligent those parents really were, and that they really are some terrible parents.
I mean, it's negligence from start to finish.
Mm-hmm.
First things first. If I'm understanding correctly, the proper age to be able to own a weapon is 21.
In most states, it should be 21.
And then I think it's like 18 or something for a shotgun.
Mm-hmm.
So you're buying a gun for someone who isn't really going to get it until 6 years until they can actually get the gun. That's red flag number 1. Number 2, god damn, he went fine. Number 2, if the father is fluent in handling firearms, he should know that you need to have gun locks and a safe, and you know, not allow him to be able to have access to said gun.
Mm-hmm.
Number 3, the mother sending out all of these like half-ass concerned messages doesn't really, you know, show that she truly cared. If I'm being honest, you know, LOL, don't get caught. Like, bro, like, no, you need to have some form of discipline with your child. And I'm not saying that you got to put your hands on them, but you legit have the conversation like, bro, what's going on? Like, show that you care for your child. Like, what's going on? Why do you feel the need to look up, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, have some sort of empathy towards your child. And then the third part is, you know, again, like you say, the accountability factor. You need to be able to, you know, own up to the fact that y'all didn't take the right measures when it came to the people bringing concern about your child to your light. Like,
yeah, it's just bad all around. And as you said, like, that really should have been a sign for the mom to go, wait a minute, why are you looking up ammunition at school of all places? Well, why are you looking up ammunition to start? And that should have been, a conversation should have been had with Ethan about that situation, because you really just can't go into there just nonchalant like, oh, next time don't get caught. Like, no, you're really doing it in school, where you know that multiple school shootings have happened throughout the years in the United States. Like, but yeah, as you said, that really just goes back to the parents, because it truly shows that they didn't care. And it especially showed because after, of course, they that Ethan was what's one going, after he was detained. Mm-hmm. The parents, of course, I guess, I don't know if they missed his arraignment or they missed theirs. I don't know what happened, but oddly enough, in a situation like that, the DA was like, okay, now we need to consider involuntary manslaughter for the parents, because the whole situation was negligent all around.
They set the the stage for it to happen.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
And at that, once that happened, the parents apparently had withdrawn like $4,000 worth of cash from an ATM, which I didn't know that you could do at an ATM. I didn't know you could do $4,000.
I thought the max was at least 1,000.
That's what I'm saying. I thought the max was 1,000 myself.
Well, you know, we are talking about the other side of
Well,
of the
Yeah.
spectrum.
Yeah.
So, ain't no telling what's possible.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, it really just is so confusing because they were able to do that, and then apparently they wanted to say that they weren't on the run from the law and that they would be willing to work with them, but then they go missing once the DA says, yeah, we're gonna hold them, we're gonna charge them from involuntary manslaughter. Now we can't find the parents.
On me, that sounds like we're trying to flee from getting caught up.
Apparently they found him in Detroit in an abandoned building, in the basement of an abandoned building. So yeah, the whole family getting clapped for that. Like that's crazy, man. That whole situation. And I have some thoughts regarding that because isn't it so weird that outside of the gun control or the common sense gun law conversation, it's crazy that a lot of schools in inner cities that are attended by majority black folk have metal detectors, and some of these schools in the suburbs do not. But most of these school shootings have happened in suburban schools. And most of these school shooters have been of the other persuasion.
I just found it crazy that he was able to look up ammunition on the school's Wi-Fi. Because when I remember coming to school, you couldn't even look up anything that was deemed vulgar, or else it would kick you out of the internet.
Yeah,
so,
I'm with you on that one, bro. Because my it's the same thing with us, bro. Like my school, granted, I don't even know if my school had Wi-Fi when I was in school, because I went to high school from 05 to 09, so I know that they have, the computers have internet, but they didn't have school-wide Wi-Fi.
But that's what I'm saying, like the school internet, like the school system internet would put an ad block.
Yeah, ad blocker on that.
What you like, because like you remember the game website called Mini Clips, where you could play different games on the computer. Like we try to go and play games on the computers, like during computer lab, and it'd be like, nah, if it's not educational based or for like research purposes, you really ain't had no access to the computers.
Yeah, exactly. But no, you make a very excellent point, bro. Like, I'm surprised he was able to do that. And it really is surprising, because I know a lot of people wanted to blame the school in this situation, but the school did what they could. And unfortunately, a lot of people were just like, well, why didn't they just kick dude out or suspend him? I'm like, man, they can barely suspend students within reason nowadays. You don't think if they tried to do that the parents wouldn't come back and start up a whole bunch of shit, like, why are you suspending him and shit and give the school hell for that? Nah, man, it's tough being an educator out here. It's like damned if you do, damned if you don't. So they did all that they could to try and address the situation, but obviously the parents didn't see any rhyme or reason to take him out of class. And now 4 students are dead. Well, maybe not 4 students, 4 people are dead.
I mean, and then on top of that, now you're having to send out grief counselors and having to have people to provide emotional support and all this other stuff. But it's just like, when you actually start putting the necessary ramifications in to not only keep students and faculty safe, that's when the true change will come. But again, because we've just been going off of a system that has been made to, in air quotes, cover all, it doesn't work. Like, we actually have to take a broader look at what it means to be within the education system. What it means to actually, because you got to think about it as an educator nowadays, and I mean, I'm just speaking from the people that I know that are educators. You're having to be the teacher, the guidance counselor, to some extent a parent, a role model, a mentor, after school, you know what I'm saying, like after school attendant, like, you know what I'm saying. Like, it's a lot of things that play into what it means to be a teacher or an educator. And again, like I said, until there is some type of reform for not only the education, but for how we go about teaching education, it's not going to change.
Yeah, man.
And then we end up with more situations like we had.
Yes, sir. And it's really just it's so baffling, you know, how this entire situation played out. But it is. I'm not gonna say it is what it is. It's just, man. Some people really don't really need to have children. I'm just gonna leave it at that. Some people really don't need to have children. But here we are in 2021, and we still have people who stereotype black folk as inherently dangerous and black kids as inherently dangerous and as hoodlums and all of this other shit. Meanwhile, you got situations like this that happen. But let me not get on my soapbox about that, man, because I could go all night, and I'm tired. I'm tired of those conversations, man.
But it's just like we talk ourselves in circles.
Yep.
Because we know that we aren't the root of the problem.
We know. But for whatever reason, man. I mean, not for whatever reason, because obviously it's still just racism that or inherent racism that has been built into this system and has built in people's hearts, man. They have certain stereotypes and view certain people a certain way when, you know, and want to hold themselves as superior to others. But anyway,
everybody want to be black till it's time to be black.
Mm-hmm. Well, needless to say, man, this has been a very, very, very interesting week, to be certain. So to get off the Ethan Crumbley situation, and hopefully him and his parents are charged to the fullest extent of the law, and our prayers and thoughts go out to the families affected by this and to the school that has been affected by this, because as you said, now that entire school system has to get grief counselors and making sure that the students are okay, because there could be a moment where the students might get triggered and might have PTSD from this situation. So yeah, definitely hoping that the students and the educators get the necessary help that they need for the situation. Moving on, this past December 2nd, I believe that was Thursday, we had a Verzuz battle. Now, I've actually been looking forward to this Verzuz battle for a while, because it was initially supposed to happen earlier during the pandemic, and then it didn't. So I'm kind of glad that it did this time around. For those who had not been keeping up, this Verzuz battle was between two legendary hip-hop groups, Bone Thugs and Harmony and 3-6 Mafia. Now,
Mafia.
All 5 Bone Thugs and Harmony members were there. Naturally, all 6 3-6 members could not be there because Coops Danica and Lord Infamous have passed on. Rest in peace to them. So 4 of them were there, and that included UCJ, DJ Paul, Crunchy Black, and Gangsta Boo. Now all 5 Bone Thugs, Crazy Lazy, Wishing Flesh, and Busy were there, and everybody knows the tumultuous history within Bone Thugs, man, because if you are a fan like I am, you know how often that certain members will break away for a while to do their own thing and then come back, and then break away for a while and then come back. Well, early in their career, we know that Busy had problems, and now I'm not going to say that they weren't justified, because Busy did have some trauma growing up, if you know Busy Bone's story. The man was kidnapped by his stepfather, him and his sister, way back in the day, and they were founded a couple years later. So he's had some lingering issues in the past, but within the group, he's definitely had some lingering issues with the group as a whole, and has left the group to do kind of his own thing and to get his mind right, and then has come back, you know, at certain times as well. For those who know Flesh and Bone's story, Flesh didn't sign with them when they signed to Ruthless Records. Rest in peace to Eazy-E. So he was on and off certain tracks throughout the beginning of the career, and then he got locked up on a weapons charge. He was released in 2009, if I'm not mistaken. And so all 5 finally got a chance to be back together again after 9 years. Then, you know, Crazy does his own thing on the side. Lazy does his own thing on the side. But they all, usually come back together. But Busy has been the most volatile member of the group at times just because of his ongoing issues. He's still family, but everybody knows what this is. Now, when the battle got ready to start, if you looked at some of the videos that they had about the battle, how they would, talk shit in a friendly manner, Busy was a little more hostile in his little clip. In this little promo.
Took it back to the streets,
yeah.
Being honest.
And for those who know the history between Bone Thugs and Harmony and 3-6, these niggas had beef. And it stems back to whose style originated with who. Because 3-6 at one point, people considered them to have a similar style as Bone Thugs because of the way that they rapped. Lord Infamous being one of the main parts of 3-6 who kind of, I wouldn't say he created, but between him and Bone Thugs, they are some of the originators of the way that rappers rap now when it comes to that triplet flow in that pocket. That was Bone Thugs and that was Lord Infamous. So then you have the fact that 3-6, when they first started, they were into horrorcore shit. So they were more horrorcore rap before they started, putting out more mainstream hits. And everybody knows that Bone also kind of got into that mysticism as well. If you've listened to their earlier projects like Creeping on the Come Up and E1999 Eternal, they were into that shit as well. So yeah, these two groups legit had beef because they thought that each person or each group was biting their style.
Yep.
And yeah, they were going back at it, back and forth and back and forth. Now obviously the beef has been squashed over the years, and they're pretty much all cool with each other.
I think it just recently got squashed though, like for good this time.
Well, yeah, I had known that Lazy had been squashed it. I could tell Lazy was real cool with them for a while, but apparently it wasn't squashed all the way because Busy still had some of them lingering feelings.
Busy still felt some way.
Yeah, and if you listen to his little promo, he literally said them 666 devil worshippers and we're gonna beat their ass and shit. I'm just like, Busy, you kind of sound a little hostile. So when the battle actually starts, they all talking their shit, but they all still going across the little tape and they dapping each other up. But you can see clearly, Busy is nowhere near. He's on his own, off on the side, just kind of like
on some real,
some real hostile shit.
He came out with just like, look. And another thing, y'all ugly motherfuckers not gonna be saying nothing about me when I'm on stage rapping. Here go Gangsta Boo.
No, Juicy J.
Man, somebody did.
And that is what set everything off, bro. And naturally with that, Busy threw his water bottle and his mic, I believe, at them, and then they got to tussling.
Then you heard Gangsta Boo, man, Busy, something wrong with you. You punk ass motherfucker. You gonna take your pills. Yeah. Like, yo, they really.
And then Gangsta was like, Busy Bone ruined y'all career. I'm like, now Gangsta Boo, you ain't had to say all that. I mean,
he not on the songs that they played where like Busy was like at the forefront. Mm-hmm. He was floating them songs. I ain't gonna hold, but I can kind of understand where Gangsta was coming from.
If you know their history, man, as we said, Busy Bone caused problems in the past. So I'm not gonna say that she was wrong, but damn, you ain't had to say it. But
I think it just
yeah, that being said, as far as who was wrong in that situation, Busy was wrong for, I guess still having hostile feelings and then killing the whole vibe. Juicy was equally as wrong for saying suck my, because you cannot say SMD to folk out here, especially, OGs back in the day. Those was fighting words.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Like,
it's always funny to hear somebody say that.
I guess it's not like, as bad.
Yeah, you dead wrong. SMD, it just rolls and flows. But like Juicy J, like I said, it just flowed. He was like, y'all ain't gonna be talking about me. SMD. It was just like that. Literally sounded like an ad-lib. Like on me, if he were to make a song tomorrow, he would take that clip. Man, SMD, play that shit, man.
I wouldn't be surprised if he did.
It's trippy, man.
Yeah, bro. But still, man. for those who are like I guess it is considered old school now, but for those who were like in old school hip hop, man, and who grew up during those times, yeah, SMD was fighting words. It may not be like that now. I mean, it's still kind of
I say you up north, like that's like prime time. Like you say something to piss somebody up, somebody like hey, you stupid. Like they gonna tell you about yourself. Now down south, I mean, you don't really hear that too much.
Right.
If I'm being trill, like you don't really hear it too much. It's more so of a up north, maybe Midwest type lingo, because it's just like that's really to let you know, like you under the chin,
right,
arm cut, you know what I'm saying, all of that, like either you gonna come correct or you not gonna come it up.
Well, needless to say, man, it definitely held the verses off for a few minutes, and then they all came back. Busy didn't come back on stage for a little while until cooler heads prevailed. They still performed songs. They still had a battle. Busy did come out and apologize, and they all performed and whatnot. And whatever, if there was any lingering beef, of course, obviously they squashed it, because at the end we did see that Gangsta Boo did go up and hug Busy. So you know, things happen in the heat of the moment, and as Busy has said afterwards, he just said, my soul made my body react. I'm like, well, bro, if somebody told you the SMD, I'm pretty sure, if you come from that era, that's automatic blackout. But they ended it in unity though. They really did.
I did want to hear First of the Month.
And you know what? It's crazy because I wanted to hear First of the Month as well as a few other songs, but according to DJ Paul, they actually ran out of time, because I think they said they had 6 more songs, which I guess was 3 from each. Yeah. So I guess that fight really cut off the time.
It was that, and it was also the fact, because I think Swiss went on to say like a day afterwards that because they wanted to be late and they getting paid and they weren't gonna perform until they got their favorite cup, that's another reason why probably the way things are going to go about these verses now are going to change. So basically, from I think what the post was saying was they were all present, but because they again needed to get their drink, needed to get they feel good, they weren't gonna go out until they had it. Yeah, and that's why they kept. I think 3-6 kept saying, you know, we always sipping, we sipping. You know what I'm saying? Because they drink. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? But that fight did take a good chunk of time, on top of the fact that I believe they did start late due to the fact that they needed to get their minds right before it.
Yeah, that I can believe that, man. And I think with the way that these verses have been going, you can kind of see why they've been starting so late, with the exception of a couple verses that actually started on the prescribed time, is because, you know, artists want to get their favorite shit together and things like that. I will say, as far as the battle itself, I'm a big Bone Thugs fan. I just think it was kind of a bad matchup, because while their styles were kind of similar in the beginning of their careers, it definitely branched off into something different as they got further along. Like 3-6 became more of hit makers as far as trying to put out stuff that was going to be for mainstream and that was going to get, you know, the crowd hype. And of course, they were more on the party side. They had like songs like Tear the Club Up. That's a party track. Like Push a Motherfucker. That's a party track.
On me, and this is my take on it, I felt like a lot of 3-6 music was for like strip club anthems, like down south thug bangers, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And then Bone, they had the actual like that thug soul.
Yeah, man.
They had a lot of feeling and a lot of different, besides like a couple of songs, like the song that they did with Lil Jon. Other than that, like a lot of weed
tracks too. So
it was more so a lot of sesh music, as well as like thug soul and thug feelings type music.
Yeah, and you can tell like I guess for those who are from the South and, you know, wanted to hear those kind of tracks, they'll tell you the 3-6-1, and then some who are Midwest that are more laid back and chill will tell you Bone Thugs came with it. Me personally, I'm not gonna give a who won which battle and whatnot, because I think honestly, I enjoyed myself so much despite the little fight that went on. And I grew up with both these groups. I grew up more so with Bone than I did 3-6 because that's what I listened to first. Mm-hmm. But still, I mean, 3-6 Mafia, I can't say that I would love hip-hop as much as I do if I did not listen to them, man. I've been listening to 3-6 since my brother first played Tear the Club Up 97 in his car. And for those who don't know the history of Tear the Club Up, like, that song got 3-6 Mafia banned in a lot of clubs because anytime they played that song, what the hell you thought happened?
Club Up.
Exactly. So
but on me, like, I feel like it more so gave me more nostalgia.
Yeah.
You know, just because, like, thinking back to the times when I actually heard the songs, on top of the fact that, like, they were prevalent in hearing growing up. So, like, you know, I don't really feel like I could take a side, like you said, and actually how it went. Like, it was feel good moment.
Yeah, man. I definitely enjoyed the battle as a whole. One of my favorite parts, I will say, was when 3-6 brought out this man Terrence Howard. That shit was hilarious, but that shit was lit. Yeah, that shit was funny though.
It was like, you from Cleveland, nigga.
And I think DJ Paul was like, yeah, we know he from Cleveland. We had to get one up on y'all. And I'm just like, damn. And then I think Lazy said Cleveland niggas gonna do what Cleveland nggers do. And I'm like, damn. But
look, we got GB and Mike got music. That's a fact.
That's a fact. That's a fact. But with the entire battle, man, I will have to give a huge shout out to Lazy Bone because he kept the peace out of both groups when that whole fight broke down. Lazy was just like, nah, chill. You can even see, like, when...
That was bro with the afro, right?
Yeah, that was Lazy Bone. Lazy Bone, I guess, has always been considered, like, a semi-leader in that group. Mm-hmm. But, yeah, man, Lazy was literally just trying to be like, yo, let's just get this money, let's perform, let's enjoy each other's company, let's have a good time. You can even see, like, when Juicy J was running up towards Busy Bone, like, Lazy had his hands up like, yo, chill, before things, like, really broke down. I watched that video multiple times to see that. I was like, yo,
he
Lazy.
went from the front to like, yo.
Yeah, like, yo.
I ain't here to scrap. I want the one who said it. Your beef went busy.
Right. and sure enough, obviously, you know,
it was like, we waited till we was 40-something.
Yeah, to fight. I'm like, man, I'm glad we ain't, like, do this in our 20s. Like, but we damn near 40. And Lazy said, man, some of us pushing 50. I'm like,
yeah, Juicy 50. I'm like,
Juicy's not 50. He's 46, by the way.
Damn near.
Yeah, they damn near 50, man. I think all of them were at least, like, very late 40s. So, yeah, it's crazy.
Well, it's always funny to see old heads act like us. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm not gonna say it's funny to see them, like, fight and whatnot, but it is funny to see them fight, or like to just like still show the young bucks like, look, if we gonna be like, that's another topic we could talk about too. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it was a good Verzuz. I'm looking forward to the next one, whenever that will be. But
it'll probably be sometime next year. Because I think that's the last Verzuz of 2021. So yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to the next Verzuz, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. A couple more highlights, real quick, before we move on, of that Verzuz in particular. I will say, as you said, when on the songs that like Busy got like in his bag, that man. There's a reason why, like, between Crazy and Busy, I consider like two of the top tier rappers of all time in general. But Crazy on the track with Tupac, Thug Love. Well, man, go if y'all have not ever listened to that song, go listen to Thug Love. It's Bone Thugs and Harmony featuring Tupac. Now Tupac slid on that track, but the first verse belongs to Busy, and Busy went the fuck off. Like, just listen to it, man. And then the track that they had with Biggie, Notorious Thugs, of course, Busy also went off on that track as well. Though, in my opinion, they should have played Crazy's verse, because I think I like Crazy's verse more on that song than I do Busy's, but that's just my take on it. And it's crazy that they played that, because Busy also had a diss towards 3-6 Mafia in that song as well. But I mean, it is what it is. You know, they had songs that did aim at the ops at the time, so you know, it is what it is.
It was dope to see they brought out Wayne.
Yes, with Bands That Make Her Dance, like definitely shout out to Juicy J for that. That really got me hype. Project Pat.
Project.
I'm
never gonna feed the streets. I got hype. I was just like, okay. There's a little bit of history for everybody.
Yes, sir. And when he performed Chicken Head and he brought out LeChat, I was like, I hadn't seen LeChat in years. So I'm glad to see her and Project Pat do that little back and forth that they did on Chicken Head.
Latasha.
Yes. Well, Shatasha. Shout out to Shatasha. Yes, Shatasha Williams. We haven't seen her in God knows how long, and she's
way
still,
back when.
Yeah, she still had the pipes for Thuggish Ruggish Bones. So yeah, definitely shout out to her, man. That was a joy to see. Give these artists and these groups their flowers while they're still here. Because unfortunately, in the rap game, man, it's really rare to see these rap legends make it to a big age. It's really unfortunate that we have to say that, but it really is. Like, a lot of these rappers don't make it to 50s, 60s, and 70s.
Like we had with Dolph, you know what I'm saying? That was truly unexpected. Like,
yeah, man ain't even lived to see his 40s, bro. Didn't even live to see his kids grow up and become adults. It's crazy that we live in that kind of time, man. But that's the unfortunate part of this hip hop game.
That's kind of the pedigree of it nowadays.
Yeah. So I'm hoping that a lot of these artists, especially with the ones that we saw, you know, they make it. But going back to that, Coops the Nigga and Lord Infamous of 3-6, they both died in their early 40s, man. A lot of them don't get to see their 60s, 70s. Now, of course, they didn't get shot or anything, but they had health issues, which is another issue, man. Be sure that y'all look after each other's health. Lord Infamous died of a heart attack. I think Coop also died of a heart attack as well, if I'm not mistaken. So just y'all.
That could have been fuel from the times too.
Yeah.
Being honest.
So, yeah, definitely just y'all be safe out there, especially when it comes to this hip hop game. If you're a rapper or an artist, just be sure that you're taking good care of not only your health but just your wealth, and also make sure that you got your ducks in order, and just be careful out there, because this thing is ruthless. Rest in peace to Easy. I mean to make a pun off that, but yeah, this thing is really ruthless. So just be mindful of that situation. With that, we are an hour in. Before we log off for the night, you got anything else you wanted to talk about, bro?
Yeah, I actually wanted to ask you, did you see that Rasheed Wallace and Meta World Peace actually came to amends?
Rasheed or Ben?
Ben, my bad.
Okay. Yeah, I did see that, and I'm just like,
I was like,
bro,
that's dope. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man.
Malice at the Palace.
Malice at the Palace. Oh my God.
That was like, I remember again seeing that in the headlines and watching the documentary on Meta, like, and just like seeing how, like, after all this time they were able to put all that stuff to the side and reconcile. Like, that's what it's about, man. You gotta move more with love and put your past grievances to the side. Yeah,
definitely, man. Shout out to what is Ron Artest's name? That's like Meta. Is it Meta Addison Artest or something like that? I don't even know.
Did he go back to his?
I know he got Artest back. I don't know exactly what his name, because he changes it so many times now, because it was Meta World Peace.
Meta Sandiford Artest.
Oh, Meta Sandiford Artest. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow, man. But I'm actually glad to see that as well, man. Because yeah, I remember when Malice at the Palace happened. Boy, that was a crazy game.
Did they ever find the guy who threw the cup?
You know, I don't know.
Because like, I remember watching the documentary. I don't know if they actually said that they found the guy who threw the cup, which ignited the whole thing.
Man, if they ever, that'll be interesting if they do find him. But I don't know if they have or not.
Years later, like,
I don't know. I think it would be a moot point at this stage in the game, but still, that's crazy how they were finally able to come together, man, after all these years. I'm not the biggest Detroit fan. Obviously, I'm a Bulls fan. I'm not the biggest Pacers fan. Obviously, I'm still a Bulls fan. But to see that at the time was, I don't know, how old was I when Malice at the Palace happened? I had to have been 12 or 13. But still, you know, and y'all wonder why LeBron did what he did as far as getting those two parents kicked off. Well, not parents, those two white people kicked out of that game that last time, was because he don't want to deal with a situation like that. You know, and a lot of these fans out here, are OD when it comes to their hostility towards different players, man.
But on me, you should never talk about no man's family.
Yeah,
like you can talk about him as a player, say he a crybaby, talk about his hairline, you know, anything except for that man's family. And when he found out they was talking about Bronny and talking about hope he died, like he was like, okay, y'all want that smoke?
Yeah,
Get the fuck out.
get out of here. You need to leave.
On me, like he really was just like, no, I'm not playing none of that. Refs, get them out of here. And then the girl threw up the crybabies. I'm like, bro, you talked about that man's family,
kid, bro. Like, don't bring no family into this, man. If you gonna say some shit, like, I'm with you on that one. Get
like, you going ball, nigga? You ain't even 40 yet. Like, all right, that's a talking point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I mean, that man has been putting his body through rigorous training since he was 18, 19.
Right.
So, I mean, what do you expect?
Nah, man, that's real. That is real, bro. But I'm just so... I'm just so... what's the word that I'm looking for? Because I don't want to say jovial, but I just had to laugh at that situation when Braun kicked him out. I'm like, okay, so he told on them, and then I saw for a while. I'm like, oh hell yeah, get them out there, pack them up. Mm-hmm. They ain't gonna talk about nobody kids. Like, come on, man, you ain't gonna bring my family. Let's say all the shit that you want about me. I don't give two fucks. Talk about, like you said, talk about my hairline. Talk about the fact that I'm not doing as well as I used to. Talk about my finals losses. Don't bring my family into this. So, but I'm not Braun, but I know he did that for a reason. And, you know, that's why going back to using Malice at the Palace as an example, like, that's something that we want to avoid. So I'm glad he was able to handle that as a player. And some of these fans just gotta really just have a reality check, man. Like, these people are people too. I mean,
it really speaks to, like, him being a professional, a professional athlete. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, because
not saying that Malice in the Palace was like the epitome of unprofessionalism, but like we understand what ignited all of that. But when you can actually articulate that you have a grievance within, you know, the fans that are attending, you know, you be able to go about it and manage it in a decent manner.
Mm-hmm. And that is a good way to handle that situation, because we've seen situations where fans, even in the last couple of years, fans have just been wilding, like somebody pouring popcorn on Russ, someone spitting at LeBron. Mm-hmm. Like that really should be one of those things where the player has every right to knock you on your shit. I'm just saying, like, because if you spit at me, oh no, I'm whooping your ass. Like, nah, we ain't no talking, ain't no chatting. Ain't no I'm sorry. You can tell me that after I whoop your ass, but nah, ain't none of that. That rah-rah is over. I'm whooping your ass if you spit on me. So, you know, the fact that they're able to handle themselves professionally says a lot too.
It's only a couple of situations where spit is acceptable.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just leaving it.
That ain't one of them.
Just leave it at that.
Oh man, boy, I was gonna say the Casamigos talking.
But like, keep your bodily fluids to yourself.
Indeed.
Keep the things that you've purchased to consume or be your souvenir to yourself. Enjoy your game, and keep that shit pushing.
Yes, sir.
Cause like, again, it's a little bit different now, but had it been back in them days, and you was able to get up in them stands, that ass would be grass.
I'm saying, man. I am saying. It is 8:11. I don't know if I should be watching the game or watching wrestling, because NXT War Games is on. But me and WWE have been on and off right now, so I'll probably catch it a little later. But anyway, I'm trying to think if there's anything else that we can discuss real quick that is on our brains.
So Miss Brittany Renner has made another appearance within the world of social media.
Oh, Lord.
She was invited to speak in front of the Jackson State University football team about being able to play the game between men and women.
Well, first off, shout out to them for winning the SWAC championship.
Yes. Yeah. Shout out to Prime Time, I think this is his second season.
Technically, yes, because they had a spring season, quote unquote, but this is still technically his first year.
Okay, so his 1.5 year celebration, but that's still dope and an awesome turnaround for it to be a new coach within college football. But she came and spoke to the football team about basically how to navigate relationships as athletes, and her being an influencer. She basically said that, and I'm going to short term it as much as possible because it was a lot of fluff that she said. But
a lot of fluff.
Basically that, when you matriculate through your career, that you are mindful about who you interact with and who you're bringing into your inner circle to make sure that the people that, again, you're interacting with are 100% for you and not for what your name or title brings. Cough, cough, cough. My boy PJ cough.
Pot calling the kettle black on that one, as you said earlier, man. Like, it's the fact that, as you said, what she said necessarily wasn't wrong, but it's the fact that it came out of her lips. Like, that's why I gave you that look earlier. Like, is she serious? Like, what the
really,
hell?
Nigga?
Yeah, like, really? Not Brittany Renner of all people saying this.
And
shit?
Again, I mean, I'm not gonna sit here and bash her because I feel like the world has already done enough of that. But what she like you said, what she said was true, And at the end of the day, your heart should be first and foremost when it comes to anything that is to come of whatever profession that you decide to go down. But yeah, I found it ironic that she was the one that was presenting that speech.
Yeah, of all people, her. But I mean, it is what it is, I guess. But yeah, still, I'm hoping that the players at Jackson State were able to, take her word, or at least her point, to heart, and understand that what Coach Prom was doing, of course, was trying to get them to see that these things happen, especially when you become a professional athlete. You just got to be careful of who you give your energy to and who you hang around, and ultimately who you choose as your partner. You just got to be mindful that they need to be for you and not for your pockets. But Brittany Renner of all people would be the most that statement coming from her is the most ironic out of all the things because of what she's been known for and what she's been doing. But as you said, I ain't gonna bash her no more. As you said, she's got enough of that going on in the media already. I'm just saying that's really one of those situations. Just like of all people,
she's done it to herself.
Yeah, of all people, her. But I guess, man. But still, yeah, if you're a professional athlete, just be careful out here. Take her words to heart, and also realize that her saying those words, she is one of those people. So just be careful out here in these streets, man. It's a lot of influencers out here, and there was a room on Twitter, a spaces, excuse me, this is in Clubhouse, but there was spaces on Twitter where a whole lot of influencers got together talking about some girl who scammed them. And honestly, I could understand like that she pretty much played all of them and whatnot, and how she was, I guess her as a person was toxic, because she would kind of make herself out to be like this bum, and she would end up scamming them out of money and shit. While I understand their frustration with that person, because I wouldn't want that happening to me, I honestly didn't care about it, because it's just like, y'all are white influencers and I could give less of what happens to y'all. So for me, that's just like, you gotta be way more careful out in these streets here, because y'all when it comes to these influencers, man, I don't really have any kind of feelings for y'all. I'm sorry. I can't feel sorry for y'all. Just
like,
be careful.
unless you're doing something that's like truly benefiting someone, that whole influencer thing doesn't really.
It don't resonate with me. That's for sure.
That's a fact.
That's for sure.
I got one more point. It's on Instagram. It says, pick one. Dinner with Jay-Z, Icebox with Lil Baby, Raptors game with Drake, hang out with Snoop Dogg, studio with Kanye, hang out with Shaq, or visit Rick Ross's mansion.
I'm not visiting Rick Ross's mansion because that's really Evander Holyfield's mansion. But so there's that. Damn, that's a good one.
I'm gonna pick two.
Mm-hmm.
And it's probably gonna be to hang out with Shaq.
Okay.
And probably to hang out with Snoop Dogg.
I know hang out with Snoop Dogg is definitely gonna be one of them. Now that I think about it, I'm like, yo, I definitely would love to hang out with Snoop, bro.
Like,
Snoop,
I feel like he'd be on straight clown vibes. Like,
exactly.
Dude is funny.
That man gonna spark up and just start joking. And also because of all the stuff that he's been doing outside of rap, man, like all the stuff that he's into, whether it's commentating or whether
the show
it's
with Martha,
yeah,
like I want to go meet Martha, like see the chimpanzee.
I'm saying, bro, like I would just love to spend a day with Snoop, just be like, man, because regardless if you were a smoker or not, I just want to be around his whole vibe, because bro sound like it would be worth the day. For me. The whole being in a studio with Kanye, I don't know.
That does sound fun. That would be my third. But like my first two are definitely Shaq and the hangout with Snoop, and then studio with Kanye. Because I mean, he don't make bad music.
You don't.
It's just you have to understand where he's coming from as the artist. But like, yeah. I mean, and that's nothing against, going to Icebox with Baby, but why would I want to go see somebody spend money on jewelry that I'm not getting?
Exactly.
And then I can go to any basketball game, like,
right.
And that's no diss to Drake, but yeah, I can.
I'm as you said, I can go to any basketball game. If Drake ain't doing something that's gonna be positive for me other than being at a basketball game, there ain't no need for me to be around.
And then dinner with Jay-Z, all he gonna do is tell me to keep grinding.
You know what I'm saying?
When he told that little girl, you can be whatever you wanted to be as long as you're successful. Yep. Like, I can hear that through the internet.
And that goes back to that joke of saying, "Oh, would you choose $500,000 or dinner with Jay-Z?" I'm like, you take the dinner with Jay-Z, he's gonna tell you should have took the $500K.
And that's really, I'll take the $500K.
I'm saying,
cash me out real quick, go goddamn pay some bills, put something down on the house. You know what I'm saying?
Pay off my student loans.
That's a fact.
Shoot, man. Yeah, just give me $500K. I'll figure out the rest. I will figure out the rest. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that is relevant right now as far as topics, but I think we covered all the important stuff. So let me just double check to be sure that then nothing else has come up in my notifications, and no, I think that's it. So with that, let me go ahead and at least just let my music heads know, as always, definitely continue to listen to new music every day, every chance that you get. Whenever one of your favorite artists, is dropping something, please just be sure that you paying attention, and hopefully it's something that you enjoy. Let it get you in the mood, let it get you right. Music, it can heal. So, and I say all that to say because I somehow missed Mick Jenkins dropping another album, and I was a little upset because he dropped it at the end of October. So I'm like, yo, where the hell was I at? I listened to half of it, and so far I love it. So
I thought I mentioned it, but
I think you might have, but I thought I might have took it as like he just dropped like another song or two. I didn't realize that it was an entire project. So with that, I definitely enjoy it so far. I'm gonna finish it up. I gotta finish this Lil Wayne listen through first. So let me get past Funeral, and then I'll go back and finish up some albums because I still have not listened to Wale's album all the way through. And there's other albums out there that I have not finished that I need to finish. Naturally, I'm not gonna talk about Summer Walker because apparently that's on these girls' minds nowadays. I was literally in shout out to Moody Sip. I was in her space. She's like, "Oh, I'm listening to that Summer Walker again." I'm just like, again. Okay.
And that's no shame, Moody, but God damn. Yeah. So that means she was sliding down all the walls of her crib, and then some. I wanted to ask you too. Are we counting Thief in the Night by Lil Wayne? It was only like an 8-track project. I think.
I don't think we're counting that.
It's a 6-track project.
Okay, no, we won't count Thief in the Night.
Cool. So up until a Funeral.
Yeah,
gotcha.
Yeah. There was another project another EP that they had out there that I was like, nah, we're gonna save that for like the mixtape talk. Because he's got a lot, but the mixtape episode's not gonna come until like much later. Because again, that man's got so many mixtapes and so many EPs out there. It's nuts. So yeah, man. Weezy is he don't make bad music, but just some music is better than others, obviously. But we'll get to that episode soon after this one. So definitely stay in tune. Just definitely be on the lookout for that episode because we're gonna have some guests in here as well, and we're gonna talk about it. And hopefully we'll have a good time, and we'll figure out where all of these, where his albums lie. The one album that we're not going to do, just ahead of time, is Collar Grove, which was supposed to be the collaboration with him and 2 Chainz, and technically it still is, but because Weezy was still fighting with Cash Money at the time, the album only went under 2 Chainz' name, so it's really 2 Chainz' album by technicality. So we're not going to cover that one because of that situation, but obviously if he was, if they had the money right, and if he wasn't infighting with Cash Money and with Birdman, it probably would have counted as part of his discography. So there's that. But anyway, you got any black businesses or black podcasts that you wish to highlight?
Other than our regulars, no.
Okay. Well, yeah, let's go down the list of regulars then. As always, shout out to Blaname Podcast, Worst Generation Podcast, and Mic Check Waifu. We are Patreon subscribers to those 3 podcasts. Shout out to them. Also, shout out to the Truth and Transparency Podcast with my boy Malcolm. We are going to do an episode together, man. Let me get my schedule together because this is approaching Christmas, and I didn't realize how fast Christmas was upon us. So we got to make sure that we get an episode together. Definitely shout out to Brutal Honesty with K. Renee. She just is working on another book. She just finished another one too. So definitely check out her books if you haven't. Sedona Rose is her new pen name. Definitely check her out. I promise you'll enjoy the experience. Let me see what other podcasts are out there. Shout out to Analytical When Things Get Critical. Shout out to y'all boys. Definitely, because they kind of dedicated an episode to us, episode 12. When I went back and listened, I was like, oh yeah, the whole why, how people or some women view anime and video games, people or niggas as corny and whatnot, and how they went on a whole tangent about that. If you haven't checked out our bonus episode regarding that, definitely check it out. Some points were made and are still being made at this very present time. Let's see. Shout out to the Culture Marauders as always. They always shout us out on Instagram, so definitely shout out to them. I'm trying to think of any other.
Shout out Panda.
Oh,
shout
yeah.
out Poodle. Shout out Moody.
Yeah. Definitely shout out our regulars, man. Definitely shout out to Panda. Panda just dropped some heat on for her graduation pics, and yeah, I've never looked at Panda like that, but them pics had me like, nah, Panda, wait a minute now, ma'am.
She's a vibe.
Yeah, yes, indeed. So, yeah,
as they say, Taraji P.
Yeah. But yeah, man. As far as on the Worst Generation podcast, I also got to give a shout out to GB. Shout out to the Noops in general, but definitely shout out to GB, man. He's been dropping some gems lately. And I'm getting ready to have another conversation with him about, when we'll be able to be featured on his Worst Generation pod. So we getting something in the works. Hopefully we'll be able to get on Bland but we know, Mike and Sine are rich and famous out here. So if we can ever get a hold of them.
There you go.
Yeah. I had to throw it out there.
Shout out to Anime After Work, Anime After Dark.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. The last couple of weeks have been pretty fuego.
Yeah, I've missed the last Anime After Dark episode because I don't know what I was doing. I can't remember.
I ain't gonna hold you. I was asleep.
Yeah, I think I don't know. I was doing something that I missed it, and I can't remember off the top of my head what I was. It was something important.
Last week you was in New York.
No, not that, because I did catch.
You talking about this last week?
Yeah, this last week. Oh, I know what it was. Yeah, I'll talk about that after we get off the mic. Yeah, but yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think that's as far as our usual suspects go. Oh, shout out to Inside the Mind of a Blur. Definitely shout out to Scuba Steve because the Blur Mind definitely. What they did was they put together a program where they were giving back to the to their communities and giving out supplies and food to the needy out in Dallas, Texas, in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. So they were doing that not only during Thanksgiving week, but they also did that this past weekend as well. So definitely shout out to them. Oh, shout out to Sundari. Sundari had us as her number 3 top podcast on Spotify Rap. So shout out to you. I definitely appreciate you, Ari, for coming through and doing the spooky episode with us. Definitely stay tuned in. We are definitely going to have you again. And hopefully with everybody around this time. So yeah. Let me see if there's anybody else as far as our usual suspects that I might have missed. I think we covered just about everybody. So alrighty then. Well, let me just go ahead and wrap then. So with that in mind, be sure that you like, share, and subscribe to the Chaotic Culture Podcast. Please be sure that you like and follow our Facebook page. You can follow us on Twitter at chaotic_culture, and you can follow us on Instagram at Chaotic Culture Pod. Please be sure that you subscribe and donate to us and become a Patreon member. You can go to patreon.com/Chaotic Culture Pod and become a patron at any of the 4 levels listed. I don't care if it's $2, $5, $3, whatever you can give. We definitely appreciate your support here. You can follow me, Ked the Pro, that's K3D the Pro, on Instagram and Twitter. You can follow Law on Twitter at Law96_ and on Instagram at L.JR_96. And you can follow our other co-host NASA on all social media at _CallMeNasa. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, that is another edition of the Chaotic Culture Podcast. Until next time, folks, remember, be blessed, be safe. God is love. Deuces.
Look, it's chaos in these streets, so let's talk about it, please. Let's hold some conversation. You see where I'm coming from. Yes, it's so amazing. Go ahead, get comfortable. You can grab a seat, take a load off your feet. Yeah, welcome to the table. We don't tell no lies over here. This ain't no fable. We just live our lives over here. We ain't no angels. We just shine our light over here. We got the power. We just showing love over here. Cause everybody needs some, yeah. And we don't need a reason. Everybody needs some.